Hey everyone, so in today's video I'm going to be doing a comparison to the Tasman Ugg slippers versus the North Face Mules. Now if you are definitely curious to know what it's like owning them and if I've noticed any differences or if they're very similar, if you want to basically purchase it for yourself but you're really not too sure which ones to basically purchase, hopefully this video will be helpful and you can maybe make a better decision. So when it comes to the Mules, I have basically all the variations of styles. When it comes to the Uggs, I have your classic, which I would say is definitely very popular, where these ones are the most common one that most people have. I also have the puff style, which is more of a repellent waterproof material. So I'm mainly going to be focusing on this one today because it's very similar to the North Face Mules. So I feel like doing a comparison between these two makes the most sense. So starting off with the North Face Mules, I would say this is definitely a style that I wanted for quite some time. It was really hard to get my hands on it because I found that it was always sold out. Now to be honest, since I bought this online on Essence, I really didn't know what would be my size because I purchased them once in the past, had to return them, and I was never ever able to try them on in store. But luckily when I ordered them online, I got them in a size 5. I have enough room in them, they're not too snug or uncomfortable, so I was really happy that I got a size that works for me. So I would say if you are able to try them on in store, definitely go for that instead of like taking a chance like myself. When it comes to my size, depending on the brand, I'll wear kid shoes. Sometimes I end up going with a size 6 in women's or maybe a 5. When I compare this to the Uggs, they seem very similar, and the Uggs I have are basically a size 4 in kids and this is a 5 woman, so maybe they do run more on the smaller end, but like I said, it's always best to try them on in store if you're able to. So when it comes to the overall design, they look very similar. The only main differences you'll notice is that the North Face one maybe is a little more shinier and it has like these seams going down, versus the Ugg ones it's just across, but they both are like this repellent material, which I really do love. So as you can see with the North Face one, it does have the branding where it's basically on the side, but you can also get another version where it basically has it on the front or all over. So they do have variations of different styles when it comes to the North Face. They also have it in many different colors. When it comes to basically the inside of the shoe, I would say it's not a very thick material, but it is still very warm. I was actually surprised at how warm this was able to keep my foot. Here living in Canada, it could get quite cold. To be honest, this winter so far has not been really cold at all, so I have been able to wear this actually quite a bit. I do also like that these are a very nice lightweight shoe, so they're not going to be heavy on the foot, and because of how they designed the shoe, I noticed my foot never got wet or anything. It stayed nice and dry, which is really great. The design I find is very smart how they made it. However, there are a few flaws I would say they probably could improve, or I personally would have done a little differently. Around the sole of the shoe has like this rubbery, like resistant material, so you definitely will notice that your foot will stay nice and dry. However, when it comes to the opening of the shoe, it isn't super big, so you do have to stretch it a little bit. It does have elastic where you can stretch it, but you really can't stretch it too much. So if you do want to wear thicker socks, which most people do in the winter time, I would suggest maybe wearing more of a thinner sock. And even though you'll be wearing a thinner sock, at least your foot will still be warm. However, if you want to be wearing socks, I wouldn't recommend wearing like ankle socks or socks shorter than crew socks. Reason being is because I found whenever I would be walking around and if I was wearing ankle socks, unfortunately my sock would slide down, and that's definitely something I do not like in the winter, especially because it is annoying having to like fix your sock every so often. And the last thing that I don't like about the style of this shoe is that the sole isn't really big. It's not a thick sole, so if you are someone that tends to drag their feet, or you are maybe a little hard walker, you might find the sole is definitely going to wear out maybe faster than the shoe itself. And it is unfortunate because this is definitely something you want to be wearing or getting good use out of. So that's definitely something I find that they probably should have done better, because the grip on the bottom of the shoe is really nice and it's a cool design that they have, and it is a non-marking shoe, which is really nice. But I just really wish the sole was a little thicker. So now when it comes to the Tasman Puffs, from Uggs. As you can tell, the design is very similar, a few differences. The opening of the shoe looks a little bigger, but it is still a little hard to get your foot in, so you really have to kind of push it in. I do like that it does have the tab, just like the North Face ones do as well. So this really does make a big difference if you're able to use this, just to kind of help you put your foot in. Design is very simple. It's not very big branding in your face, which I kind of prefer. I like that they have this little tab where it does say Uggs, and it's very subtle, so you can't really notice it at all. But they do have a few styles of Tasman slippers where they have Ugg across the front, just very similar to how the North Face is. But overall, I do like that the branding is very minimal. You don't really know what type of shoes I'm wearing when I am wearing this. I wouldn't recommend wearing ankle socks with these because your sock will start to fall down. And even if you have the regular Tasman slippers, you'll notice your socks will definitely start to slide down. The only difference is with this one versus the regular Tasman, I would say your foot definitely stays inside. I know a lot of people will mention with the regular Tasman slippers, their heel kind of slips out, but with this one, it doesn't. So that's kind of why when it comes to the winter time, I definitely reach for this one more because I find that my foot just stays in place. The opening of the shoe for the regular Tasman slippers is a little bigger, and I want to say it's a little lower, so maybe that's why your heel will definitely slip out of this a little more. But when it comes to the Puffs and when it comes to the North Face Mules, your foot doesn't slip out of it at all. So that's kind of why I mentioned I wear these ones specifically more whenever it's colder or more in the winter time. So when it comes to the inside of the Uggs, definitely very nice and warm. It's not as thick as your regular Uggs, but overall it is still warm. So when it comes to the overall design, I do prefer that the sole is a lot thicker. So when it comes to flaws with this design for the Uggs, I would say the biggest one would be the trim around the shoe. Now it is suede, which I believe isn't the best choice when it comes to like the trim, because I feel like if you are going to be wearing this in the winter time and maybe there's more slush or more snow or whatever the case is, I feel like this will definitely seep water in through it. Now for me personally, I haven't experienced any issues when I'm wearing this in the winter time because I am driving. I'm not really going to be outside for as long. My foot has still stayed nice and warm and dry, but I am a little more conscious when I am walking, so I do try to avoid walking maybe puddles or deeper areas of snow. So that's why I wish they would have maybe really considered not putting this material around the trim. So overall, I find that they both are great shoes or great mules to have in the winter time or colder months. If it's maybe more so a slipper you want to be using as like the type of slipper you're just going quickly outside, running errands in, I would definitely recommend it. But overall, when it comes to the price point, they can vary for prices. They can both go on sale from time to time. So overall, when it comes to which one I would say I prefer, I can't really say which one I would pick over the other. Like I mentioned, there's different reasons why I prefer the North Face one over the Uggs and vice versa. So I would just say, depending on what your needs are and maybe how often you'll be wearing these type of shoes, or if you're just going to be wearing them inside, I would definitely recommend going for either one. But if you are going to be wearing them outside, just keep in mind just the things that I mentioned. So that is basically all for today. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any comments or questions or want to find out more about these shoes, I'll leave some information in the description box, but you can also leave a comment down below and hopefully I'll be able to help you. And I want to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye!